A lot of debates in the tabletop RPG and Dungeons & Dragons community center around this idea of there being a spectrum between mechanics and roleplay. People have differing priorities when they're structuring games, and sometimes people talk about tensions arising between DMs and players when people had different expectations going in. For example, if the DM is very mechanics heavy and the players are looking for something more RP and story focused, then people can be not getting what they wanted out of the experience, and clear communication between DMs and players about what should be happening going forward and what people are comfortable with at the table is crucial to making a campaign work. But at the same time, I also think it's pretty limiting. Especially since it really divides the community into people who are RP heavy and mechanics heavy. And that divide is frequently to do with how rapidly the community has grown in the last few years. And a lot of these new players are coming from arts and drama and writing backgrounds, and so describe themselves as more RP heavy. Those of us who've been playing a long time and are very comfortable with the mechanics don't see the mechanics as such an obstacle and therefore tend to take them more seriously or be more comfortable using them. I am very comfortable with the mechanics, but I also come from an arts background. I'm a writer. Story is really important to me. But I don't think the RP in Dungeons & Dragons is anything without the mechanics. I don't like having a table full of people just telling me whatever they want to do and then being like, yeah, that's fine, just do whatever you want. I like there being obstacles in people's way because that's how you get compelling narratives. When people describe their problem with the mechanics in D&D, they're often talking about it getting in the way of roleplay. And I think that often actually means that it's getting in the way of you doing what you want to do, which is the point. You know, I like the idea that encounters can go totally ass backwards because of just random dice rolls. I mean, you get such amazing, memorable moments around the table from that. I mean, an encounter that should have taken you 10 minutes to get through because everyone rolled like shit and everyone's grabbing each other's hands and freaking out and screaming. I mean, you don't forget that game. You remember it and you talk about it and laugh about it. And similarly, when something that totally shouldn't work and somebody rolls a natural 20 and everyone just like absolutely screams and, you know, it's perfect. You remember that. Those are great story moments. And it's the mechanics that let them happen. If you don't let that structure and chaos and stuff into your game, I think you don't get as good a story out of it. Any story is constructed with obstacles to the path of progression. And every time you roll a dice is a potential obstacle to your progression. And yeah, the rules, there's a lot of them. And they take a while to learn. And I understand for new players, it is really difficult to keep the mechanics straight in your head while you're also trying to roleplay and be part of the story. But like, you get there. I think it's a learning curve, and if you have a good DM, then they shouldn't make the mechanics hard on you. I think it's harder for new DMs than it is for new players that way. I think it's a mistake that just because something is hard when you're new, to act as though this is a divide we should be like fostering in the community. I don't think that's good for our games or our players, and I especially don't think it's going to be good for game development in the future, because game developers are going to feel like they need to pick a side on this imaginary Kinsey scale between maths and RP. And I don't think that's going to bring us new exciting games that we're looking for. I would love to hear your favourite moments of when the story and the roles overlapped in either the best or worst possible ways. And yeah, have a great day.